As a typical Astros game where the offense was nowhere in sight, Jose Urquidy pitched as well as he could for 6 innings, and it was a quality start, a bounce back start for Jose Urquidy. But then the offense came alive, and it took an error by the all-star mega paid shortstop dash wherever he's playing nowadays, Corey Seager. He made an error that led to all the 4 runs scored in the 8th inning, making up for what happened against the Rangers on Monday. So this is a makeup game. Thank you, Rangers. Thank you for the gift. And we'll talk about this and more on this edition of the Locked On Astros podcast.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we hope that you join us for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. Find me on Twitter at Eric Talks Astros. Find the show at Locked On Astros. Your team every day. Brett, where can I find you at?
H-Town Wheel, Twitter, Instagram, at Astros411 on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Always positive, always Stros.
All right, guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Whether it's on YouTube, just go to the podcast, just go YouTube, search for Locked On Astros, just press the little button that says subscribe and just do it right now. You're watching the show, just go ahead and do it right now. Give us a like while you're at it. And on your way to work, if you're at work, on your way home from work, just listen to us on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you're listening to podcasts. Just make us your first listen every day. And Dusty Baker said that this was one of the, let me make sure I get it right. This might be the victory of the year, according to Dusty Baker. So we'll talk about that, but this is definitely the largest comeback the Astros have done this year. And this was one of those games that we had already kind of planned what we're going to do on the podcast, and we had already made our thumbnail for everything. And it's just like, yeah, this is going to be one of those games where it's going to be a weird podcast, but it just changed everything with that one little decision by Corey Seager. Corey Seager, this guy who's played all-star level, the guy that the Rangers paid a lot of money for. And instead of going for the double play there to get the 2 outs, he was going to preserve the shutout. And then Huff made the bad throw to Duran and threw it away. And I was just like, did that really just happen? Did that just happen?
Now, wasn't Huff the guy that had like 2 home runs off of Urquidy?
Yeah, that was last year in September, I think.
No, yeah, I'm just saying. So, when he got up and struck out, I was like, okay, thank goodness. But, Eric, I had basically put a tweet out literally the inning before. Someone tell me besides Yordan Alvarez, who in this lineup is producing? Because nobody is. And until they start producing outside of Yordan Alvarez, nothing's going to happen. And, I think they found a way to neutralize this offense when the offense isn't working. Hit Yordan Alvarez with the pitch or walk him, because right now, effectively, he's the most consistent offensive guy. And it was great to see something go our way. When the offense is not hitting, you need breaks like this. And that's the beauty of baseball. So I love tweeting stuff out and then eating my crow immediately. And the Locked On Rangers guy, Bryce, said, I swear, every time you badmouth the Astros, they have some rally. I said, there's a method to my madness. I have reasons, and it's scientific. I promise you that.
Yeah, Urquidy said that he ditched his cutter and he's trying to work on his slider a little bit more. And he actually did not throw his cutter at all. So maybe that's why he had a little bit more success tonight. But this was definitely a bounce back game for Urquidy. And this is something that I know that I was on a radio station in Louisiana today, and they brought up Urquidy and they said, what do you think is going to happen to him? And I'm like, Well, I don't know. It depends on which Urquidy shows up. Is it the one that can dominate you, or the one that throws way too many strikes that he's hittable? And he threw a lot of strikes today, but his strike percentage was actually down a little bit, which is actually a good thing because that means he wasn't throwing like strikes right down the middle, and he was nibbling a little bit more. So I think this is Urquidy that I know he gave up the 3 runs. That a low pitch that was a little bit low. It was a low changeup. It was a 3-1 pitch, and credit to Lowe. He went and golfed that one out, and it was a good one. But other than that, Urquidy pitched a pretty good game. It was a quality start, 6 innings, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, 0 walks, but that's what you expect from Urquidy, and 4 strikeouts, lowering his ERA to 4.99. I know that's not impressive, but considering it was above 5, that's an accomplishment.
Well, I think too, if you look on the other side, if you look at Dane Dunning with his 6 innings, only surrendering 2 hits, 4 walks, and 4 strikeouts, it was mentioned in the broadcast, and then I started watching it. This guy does not have high velocity, but his
Yeah.
delivery is so fast.
Right.
And so Jeff Blum was talking about the difficulty as a hitter in the box when a pitcher's coming at you full steam, but the baseball is coming out of his hand slower than what the motion of his arm is. He said that can be deceiving. And when you're struggling offensively as a team to scratch across runs, that can cause you more frustration. And so that's why, when people say hitting a baseball is hard or baseball is not an easy sport, it's not because they're making excuses for their failures. It's the intricacies involved, the ins and the outs, the literally how different things can be from at bat to at bat, where you have your most seasoned veteran and your most apt. I mean, I would take this Astros 1-6 and put it against anybody's 1-6. And on a good day of hitting, I think this 1-6 can compete with the Dodgers, can compete with the Yankees, with the Mets. And you know what? Speaking of the Mets and the Yankees, this offense
coming up,
better
yeah.
be firing, because we've got them where? Not here, in New York. And it would be great to shock the world, because I think everybody's expecting us to go in there and not play well because we have not been playing well. But such a time as this, that the Astros offense, maybe if this is the game of the year, maybe there's some things. I mean, Bregman hit the ball today. Bregman scored. And that's a feeling you get. And what I'm hearing, Eric, from people who talk to the team and stuff, they say Bregman is really grinding. He's working his tail end off. And if anybody out there doubts his work ethic, they don't know what's going on behind the scenes. And I think it's going to come to fruition. I think the law of averages will catch up in the Astros' favors, favor.
And we're seeing Gurriel getting some good at bats. He had that double, I know, it was down the right field line and barely hit the foul line for a double. And he also had a hard hit line out to, I mean, it wasn't line out, but it was it may have been line out, but it was like something that, but it was hard hit to shortstop. He's making some good contact on the ball as well. So I see Gurriel, some good signs from Gurriel, but he needs to start making better contact. And I know a lot of people say, well, we need to upgrade catcher. We need to upgrade center field. We need to upgrade first base. We need to upgrade third base. There's only so many positions the Astros can upgrade. And like we've talked about, Bregman, he ain't going anywhere. Yuli ain't going anywhere. And I don't think Martin Maldonado is going anywhere.
And
either.
I'm gonna squash the Martin Maldonado and Wilson Contreras talk on this show, right? Like for good. Wilson Contreras is not coming to the Astros. Martin Maldonado is way too valuable to this team in the clubhouse, and people can disagree with me on that, but you don't know what I know, okay? And I know that if you observe over the years what Martin Maldonado has meant to this team, what he means to this team. I mean, think about this. Someone was really taking a deep dive with me today, and they said, imagine what he does for the Spanish-speaking pitchers and able to translate certain things and just intangible things like that he doesn't give. And all I'm saying is that Martin Maldonado is here to stay, and he is not going anywhere. We're not going to get Wilson Contreras a high dollar rental and sell the farm system for someone like that. they're probably going to go out and get someone either. I mean, you need to look at actually center field. You need to look at relief pitching. I mean, what happens if Lance McCullers? I mean, we've got a little bit of time to what, is it the end of July is when the trade deadline is. So will Lance McCullers come back? Will Jake Odorizzi look good? And if they don't come back, if both of those guys aren't back, like firing on all cylinders, they may go after starting pitcher.
But don't forget about Hunter Brown. Hunter Brown's looking pretty good down there. And we'll have to talk about what's going on with Jeremy Pena in a second, because I don't know if anybody knows. I know Chandler Rome is like, excuse me, Astros, we'll vote for Jeremy Pena if you tell us what part of his body is hurting. Point to it or something. So speaking of which, we got a lot of different occasions coming up that you might want to get something from Blue Nile. Let's talk about Blue Nile.
So Blue Nile is this great place where you can get fine jewelry, but it's not going to cost you thousands and thousands. Like, you can give them your price point and they can make a ring. They can make an engagement ring. They can make an anniversary band, whatever you need, a cocktail ring, a gemstone necklace, just cocktail jewelry, whatever you need. They have jewelers on hand that will talk you through the process. You can choose the size of the ring. You can choose the clarity. You can choose the diamond shape and the setting style. Their bench jewelers will then handcraft the perfect ring for you. Each ring is one of a kind. This is fine jewelry, wedding jewelry at its best. And again, it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg. You give them your budget, they give you what they can make. And it's amazing because they have all these jewelers, individual jewelers, there with BlueNile.com, and they do a phenomenal job. They do a professional job, and they're looking to help you. They're there on hand 24/7 by phone or by chat to help you make this memorable gift. So to make the moment sparkle with jewelry from BlueNile.com, and Locked On Astros listeners get $50 off the purchase of $500 or more. This podcast exclusive includes engagement rings. Use the code Locked On. That's Locked On. Plus, every order is insured, ships free, and arrives in discreet packaging so that it won't give away what's inside. Shop stress-free and find your forever place at BlueNile.com today.
All right, guys, the NBA draft is coming, and the ultimate NBA mock draft starts June 16th with over 50 insiders. Nothing equals the ultimate NBA mock draft experience. The Locked On NBA Big Board Draft experts plus the Odyssey insiders. The first pick is June 16th. Search Ultimate NBA Mock Draft and follow now so you don't miss a pick. All right, so I'm excited about who the Rockets are going to pick. With third pick, I know I think it's been a while since the Rockets have had that such a high pick. I think they've been kind of mediocre for like at 500 or for a while there. So I'm excited to see what they pick there. But Jeremy Pena, we know that he did hurt himself in Monday's game. He did stay in, and so it's unclear what's going on with Baker did say before Tuesday's game it's not his wrist, which he did have surgery on last year, but declined to specify anything further. Reporters said that they did see him being golfed to the Ranger side to kind of get looked at by the Rangers doctors. And then I guess the Astros weren't really happy with whatever they came across. So they went ahead and flew him back to Houston to look at that. And Baker said that it didn't get any worse as the game went on. We just felt like taking every precaution to make sure nothing is wrong. And so we're hoping he'll be okay in the next couple of days, perhaps by the time we get home.
So basically, it doesn't look, is that good or bad?
I don't know. That just means that nobody knows. And Chandler Rome is going to town on this. He's like, this is ridiculous that the Houston Astros cannot tell the reporters what's going on. That's our job, is we're supposed to report what these injuries are. And
let me tell you, and I've been in conversations with him where, he has vocalized frustration, not just to me, but where everybody could hear it in the room, and people that were in the room were people connected with the team. And he's like, yeah, they're not being honest with us. And I'm sitting there going, oh man, he's sitting here kind of getting sideways. And yeah, Chandler does get a little chippy with that because all he wants is he wants honesty and transparency,
Mhm.
because he can't properly report or write an article or diagnose a team. And I know there are a lot of people who do not, who there are a lot of people who do not like him, a lot of people that he'll block or whatever, they'll get into a little tiff with them. But Chandler's made it real clear. He's a reporter. He's not a fan. And people don't like that about him. I don't mind that about him because he's trying to do his job. I get how he rubs people the wrong way. But at the end of the day, he's just trying to say, okay, guys, just tell us what is happening. Don't be so like ghosty about it. Don't be so mysterious, because then it makes us think, is there something seriously wrong? Like that's going to keep him out for a long time. And that's what people want to know. So that's why I think he gets chippy, and, kind of tip of the hat to Chandler. He doesn't ever back down.
Yeah. So I don't know what's going to happen with this. Hopefully it's just a minor thing. Hopefully they just want to be cautious with their young shortstop. Hopefully this is anything major. But the Astros are already playing with a 25-man roster right now, or 24-man roster, because they had to send Hector Neris to the suspension list because he's serving the 3-game suspension. And a lot of people, after that was reported, they're like, well, why can Neris have served it the game before? That's not the point, but that was handed down today. So it was reduced down from 4 games to 3 games. And so now he was going to serve it starting today. And today's his birthday. So happy birthday, Hector Neris. But he's going to serve that 3-game suspension. So not only
Yeah,
are
happy birthday serving the suspension.
so not only are the Astros down Jeremy Pena, but they're also down a reliever. So Thursday is an off day, so that's a good thing. But at the same time, that doesn't help with the Neris suspension, but that will help with Jeremy Pena getting better, everything's. But I do want to get back to anything else about Jeremy Pena?
No.
Okay. All right, so I do want to go ahead and talk a little bit more about this game today. Like I know you're having some technical issues earlier, but what were your thoughts about Corey Seager going home instead of going for the double play there?
Well, I mean, I think he thought he could avoid us scoring that run, us getting closer. The philosophy of a baseball player is get the lead runner, right? I mean, you get the lead runner, and that's what he did. And Jose Altuve thought on his feet, and he went back. It was actually not Seager's fault. It was the catcher that threw the ball. That is why the error was made.
Right.
Now, Corey Seager was the catalyst in that play, but that is baseball. That's what I grew up knowing. You throw out the lead runner, and he had the lead runner right there in his grasp. And Altuve usually goes early on contact anyways, and he's been caught stealing, so why not get him out? I thought, oh, here comes another Altuve being out on the base pass.
Yeah. And so, but when he threw the ball away, then Altuve was able to score. And then whoever was behind him, I forgot, wasn't it Brantley? Brantley was able to score on an Alvarez ground out. And then Bregman was on base for this guy. And this guy came up and with no gloves on, after going 0 for 3, he had such a hard time facing Dunning's changeup. And of all the people in Astros lineup, Kyle Tucker struggled the most against Dunning. He was glad to see him leave, but he was like, you know what? I want to take the gloves off after it's 2 weeks of having the gloves on. He was like, let me take the gloves off. This dude is so superstitious. He's like, I've had an 0 for 3 game so far. I want to take the gloves off. And what does he do? He hits a game-winning home run for Houston. Well, it wasn't game. Well, I guess it was game-winning. It wasn't a walk-off or anything like that. But it's just amazing to see what this guy is capable of. And I think it's not about the gloves. It's never been about the gloves. It's more about him just it's a mental thing. It's like us in golf. It's like, do we really need the golf gloves? Maybe sometimes yes,
Yeah.
sometimes no. But Tucker he just was in the right place at the right moment. And I can't say enough about what Kyle Tucker did in that situation. And that was a big moment, giving the Astros a victory, putting them back up 8.5 games in AL West over the Rangers.
Yeah, exactly. I think, This is your classic case of the Astros get the job done. They do what they need to do. It wasn't pretty in the beginning. You let a guy like Dane Dunning kind of master you most of the way. I mean, here's the thing: the hits and four. Rangers got 8 hits and only 3, and they had an error. So they didn't make the most of their opportunities. Sometimes baseball is about making the most of your opportunities because you may not have a lot of them afforded to you. And even with that said, I mean, look, you only had 4 players get hits in this entire game, Eric. So of those 4 players, you got the 5 hits and you got the 4 runs. And that's how you win baseball games down the stretch. That's how you win baseball games against tough teams. Now, against someone like the Yankees or Mets, you're going to have to produce more. You're going to have to put up crooked numbers up in the beginning of the game so that you can take the pressure off the pitchers. These pitchers will pitch well and I think do well against their competition. But at the same time, the hitters have to also add to that and add runs and put pressure. Because right now, if we face Garrett Cole, he hasn't been great lately. He has been shaky. Nestor Cortez is really kind of their leading guy. I mean, they have good, solid pitching, but right now, the name of the game for them is the long ball. And I mean, guys like Matt Carpenter, I watched that guy 2 weeks ago play for the Oklahoma City Dodgers or the Chihuahuas, or I forget what team he was with. It wasn't the Yankees. The Yankees signed him away, and Matt Carpenter was playing in AAA. Now he's like hitting the cover off the ball in New York, and he's like this rejuvenated player. So New York right now is playing with the swagger. The Mets are playing with the swagger. You want to see the Astros get to that level at some point, and I think they will. I made a comment on Twitter, and someone corrected me, and I took it. I said, these are the dog days of summer. I was like, well, really, the dog days of summer are like late July. And I said, okay, maybe I should have said these feel like the dog days of summer, right? Because they've really been underperforming to what this team is capable of.
Yeah. And looking at the Yankees offense, and this is not including whatever they're doing today, they lead the league in with 98 home runs and with 290 RBIs. They have a 769 OPS. They have a 250 batting average. They lead the league in runs scored. I believe. No, sorry, they're not even. Where are they? They're third in the league in runs scored behind the Mets and the Dodgers with 307 runs scored. So the Mets are going to be an issue because they have a higher batting average. They don't have as many home runs, but they do score a lot of runs overall. They do have a way of getting on base and scoring runs. So the Mets, they have good pitching. The Yankees have good pitching. So the Astros are about to face two good teams, and there's a team that's not too interested in facing the Astros, according to Mike Wilbon of the pardon my interruption, or pardon, what is it again?
Pardon the interruption,
Yeah.
PTI.
Yeah, PTI. I haven't watched that in a while. I don't
That's
have
okay.
ESPN anymore. Actually, I
That's
do. I just
okay.
haven't watched it. But we'll talk about that in a second. Before we do, let's talk a little bit about AG1.
Yeah, AG1 is this great product. I want to tell you about it. If you are serious about your health and you're serious about if you have gut health issues or you have this regimen of taking crazy amounts of vitamins, I want you to stop. I want you to think about this. With one delicious scoop of AG1, you're absorbing 75 high quality vitamin minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and antigens to help you start your day right. This special balance of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, and aging, all the things that you need. And so I personally consume it. Why? Because it's easy to take. Also because it's healthy for you. Also because there's no GMOs, there's no nasty tasting chemicals, no artificial flavoring. It's all 100% natural. You don't have to worry about all these other, if you're on vitamin prescriptions, you can probably get off them. And I'm not telling you what to do, but I can tell you what AG1 offers. AG1 offers this great healthy supplement, and it allows your body to recover. Forget the $100 a day vitamin diet. Forget about all these things and go with this company. Not only are they a great company for health, but they have great values. They use they're basically climate neutral certified. They give out meals to No Kid Hungry. They've given over 1.2 million meals. I mean, a company that's doing good things, not just for you, but for kids around the world in the U.S. right now you need to claim your health and arm your immune system. And to make it easy on you, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/MLB network. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/MLB network to take ownership of your health and pick up the ultimate nutritional insurance today.
David would be tickled pink if the Astros take the series, maybe against the Yankees too. What do you think the odds Bet Online would say the Astros have the win this series, or maybe even a series against the Yankees?
Well, I don't know. I mean, if they go into New York playing like they're playing right now, that's probably not great odds. But what you could do is you could maybe do some props on who hits more home runs, Alvarez or Aaron Judge, or who has a higher OPS or whatever. I'm sure that whatever it is you're looking for, you need to go to betonline.net. It's your number one source. It's our number one source for all our betting stats and sports info. Find all the latest sports developments, news, and odds, including this year's NBA Finals, which is still going on, the NHL Hockey Conference Finals, which is leading to the Stanley Cup, Major League Baseball, and, of course, all the latest fighting news from MMA and UFC to boxing. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sport wagering information, including live betting, esports, and more. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. BetOnline, where the game starts.
All right. So all the talk across baseball is how long will Tony La Russa be the manager of the White Sox? Their team is below 500 after winning 93 games last season. They've been giving up runs, allowing 11 runs and a loss to Dodgers last week, then 11-8 and back-to-back losses to Rangers last weekend. We see how good the Rangers can be, but at the same time, the White Sox are supposed to be this playoff team, and they're just not doing good. This is what Michael Wilbon said on the Pardon the Interruption show. He said, they don't just lose games, they get crushed, as if they're physically afraid of the opponent. Oh, wait, they are afraid of the Astros. As soon as they see the Astros bus pull in the parking lot, they want to run home and cower. The White Sox made the playoffs last year, and they rolled over at the sight of certain teams. And then basically, he went on to say about Justin Verlander, he said, even at 39, he is the best pitcher in baseball. And so basically,
Easily.
yeah. So basically, I know he grew up a Cubs fan. And so he's just not like he's not a big White Sox
He
fan.
does not like. Oh yeah, this is a little bit biased for him, and I haven't watched that show in a while. I'm not a massive fan of those guys. I often don't agree with either one of them, but they've got some good takes. I mean, they watch a lot of sports, but the White Sox are under 500. They're 29 and 31. They have had a lot of injury issues, Eric, and that has been their main problem. They can't keep their mains on the field, and so that's where the issues come in with the White Sox.
Yeah.
Is they just have not had a complete team all season. Now, when they're healthy and when they're firing on all cylinders, they have a ton of talent on the field. They have talent pitching. They kind of have this embattled old manager in Tony La Russa who just seems to he just seems to step in it. He seems to make coaching moves, and he gets asked why he does something, and he's like, well, that's why I just do it, because I do it, and it's all, I don't know. Here's the deal. I don't know if the White Sox are afraid of the Astros or not, but I tell you who isn't afraid of the Astros: the Yankees and the Mets.
Yeah.
And you know who the Astros aren't afraid of? The Yankees and the Mets. None of these teams are afraid of themselves or are afraid of their opponents, because we've had success against the Yankees. Now the Mets, I mean, I guess every once in a while, right? But I love these series. I think these series are going to tell you a lot about this team. Now, I'm not ready to write a final narrative on this team if they go in and don't do well because of where they are right now currently. But if they can go in and go against this struggle, Eric, and get better and do better than they've done against the bad teams, it will go a lot towards credibility and street cred, especially on Twitter, because there's a whole lot of talk there's a lot of Astros fans kind of shrieking back, and they're like, I just hope you don't sweep us. And I'm like, quit cowering to these Yankees and Mets. Like, don't act like you're not the alpha in the room. We're absolutely the alpha. We've been to the ALCS 5 years in a row, not them. Had the Yankees been to a World Series? When's the last time we went to World Series? 2009? Okay. And they're playing great ball. They're playing the best ball they've played. But even the Locked On Yankees host, we talked today in the meeting, she's like, I'm cautiously optimistic. Like, I'm optimistic, but in other words, they're a little shy of putting all in on the hope. So everything has to fall in line. If the Astros can go and man up on a national stage and beat the Mets and beat the Yankees 2 out of 3 in both those series, or win those series, that goes huge towards silencing the naysayers. But they have to go out there and do it.
All right, and this is another reason why he said I guess he alluded to the White Sox. Last year, the Astros outscored them 27-8 in a 4-game series at Minute Maid Park, and also we remember in the playoffs that the Astros beat them in 4 games, outscored them at least 5 runs in each of their 3 defeats. And it was a 4-game series, I think, or something. So anyway, but going back to the Yankees and the Mets, we've seen the Astros in the past step up to the upper level competition. The Astros have been playing a lot of bad teams recently. And I think we're going to see them step up against the playoff teams like the Mets, the Astros. And that's where you see the Alex Bregmans maybe rise.
You mean the Mets and the Yankees?
What did I
Because
say?
you said the Mets and the Astros.
Well, whatever.
But you know what, though? They have been kind of playing against themselves. Look, I rewatched Creed the other day. Now, I'm not saying Creed and Creed 2 compare to the Rocky movies, but they're pretty good in their own right. And one of the things Rocky tells Adonis Creed is, you're fighting against yourself, and he's in the way. You've got to get him out of the way. And
Yeah.
once you get him out of the way, you can do. When the Astros go into New York, they don't go, oh my God, they're the big bad Yankees. They don't go into Yankee Stadium and go, oh wow, this is so amazing. The 27 rings. They go in there and go, we have literally won every playoff series we've played this, guys. Like, okay, they want to play us, we're game. I mean, Altuve is the Yankees' daddy, am I not right? I mean, even without Lance McCullers, this team still is a force, and I still think that they go in there and take care of business. I want to touch on this right here. Did you hear? Okay, you know the brush up that happened, a little off topic, when you had that. I think it was Tommy Pham and with Jock Peterson. He slapped him, and it was over Fantasy Football League. This is a league that Mike Trout, Alex Bregman, Jock Peterson, Tommy Pham, and a bunch of other players are in. Alex Bregman actually won that Fantasy Football League last year. Mike
Yes.
Trout talked about it. I don't know what the buy-in is, Eric, but I would love to be at a financial level to where I could buy into a
You
league.
can't afford it.
Oh, I know I couldn't. I can't even afford your league. But I'm just saying, like, someone and I were discussing on Twitter, like, what's the buy-in for that? I'm like, dude, it's got to be 6 figures. Like, and Bregman won it, so I just thought that was a neat little side.
And did you
fun
see the
note.
comments? They're like, "Oh, well, he probably cheated at that too. He used a
Yes, of
trash
course.
can."
Yeah,
And
he's a blah blah. Yeah, that's such a low hanging fruit. That's such a terrible joke.
yeah, some other injury news: Lance McCullers and Jake Odorizzi both threw bullpens today. Dusty Baker did make it down for McCullers bullpen. He did hit 90 miles per hour on a fastball. So that's a big accomplishment for him. He threw his 4-seam, 2-seam, and changeup. He has not thrown any breaking pitches yet. He's still working up to that. And so that's a big step for him. And Odorizzi is about 70% at his PFP. So he's still trying to get to where he's supposed to be. So I think Dusty Baker said he's still a little stiff when he's running, but when he was doing the fielding practice, he was feeling pretty good. But the running is still an issue. And
Yeah,
somebody that deals with that little tendinitis stuff, it's not easy. So it's going to take.
Oh no! I even see it. I even ask you. Like the other day when we went Top Golf, I was like, hey dude, how's your foot? You're like, it's fine. And I'm like, dude, it can't be fine. Like, well, it. I'm gonna have to go home and ice it or whatever. But hey, this is an interesting question right here. I wonder if Cole versus Verlander will match up with the rotation. I don't know. It's a little too far to project that, but man, wouldn't that be phenomenal to have Cole versus Verlander? And then wouldn't it be great for Cole to just to go out there and pitch 2 innings and give up like 3 home runs,
Right.
and Justin Verlander go out and smoke like 11 Ks and like get like the golden sombrero with like Aaron Judge. I'm sorry, I'm such a freaking homer. I hope the Astros absolutely crush the Yankees. I hope they crush the Mets. I just want them to do damage. I want them to do damage in Arlington tomorrow. Can we just put up 15 runs and crush the Rangers' soul and get the heck out of Tractor Supply Field or whatever that place is called? Oh, actually, it's not called Globe Life Park. You know what it's called?
Globe Life Field.
No, it's not called Globe Life Field. It's called King Tuck Fielders. No, what was? Dang it! I had it written down. Blummer gave it a nickname on the broadcast, and I totally forgot it. So forget it. Never mind. The joke totally failed. Comedy is 90% delivery, 10% timing. I was 100% off. It's all good.
Alrighty, so quadruple A pitcher Hunter Brown is leading the PCL with 73 strikeouts. He's second with a 2.25 ERA. He's first with a .188 opponent's batting average and fourth with a 115 WHIP. His 12.63 strikeouts per 9 innings is eighth best in all minor league pitchers with at least 50 innings. This dude is dealing, and the Astros have no place to put him. And that's a good thing to have. But unfortunately, Hunter Brown's just like, am I just going to just die here?
No, Hunter Brown is more of a service time issue than anything. I think I just unless they were really desperate, I think you can wait. I think you can still wait until later. I think what they're going to do is they're going to see where McCullers and Odorizzi are. And if they feel like Hunter Brown can come up and give them a spot start here or there, he's going to come in as a starter. They will not bring in Hunter Brown out of his primary role that he's been in since he came to the organization, right? He's not going to come up to become a long reliever. He's not going to come up to be a middle relief guy. He's going to come up to start games. And that's going to be his primary role. So I just really think that Hunter Brown's time will come. He is feeling better. The interviews I read of him, the things I hear about him from the players. I actually had a conversation with Corey Lee just off the record about Hunter Brown. I said, "Hey man, how's Hunter feeling?" He said, "You know what? He's more confident now than he's ever been. He's really hitting the strike zone. He's hitting, I throw down the signs. He's hitting the spots." And so he said Hunter Brown's doing really well, and so that's good to hear from their top catcher in the minor leagues. His time will come. Hunter Brown will be here, and he will be a force.
Yeah, so the Astros had a big comeback win. They scored, 4 runs in the 8th inning, trying to duplicate what the Rangers did to them on Monday. This was a epic comeback, the best comeback of the season. Dusty Baker called it the best game of the season. And Tucker said after the game that he wasn't trying to drive the ball, but he did what he was supposed to do.
But Eric, when he hits it, it's not as deceiving as Jordan's swing.
Yeah.
But when Tucker hits it, like it looks like a long, just lazy swing, and the ball just absolutely jumps off the bat.
Right.
It is like, I don't understand physics, but I would love to study like just all the momentum and all that stuff. I love that. I love that it was the first pitch.
Yeah.
It was the first pitch. I mean, it was so cool. And hey, if y'all on Instagram, go check out the Locked On Astros Instagram. I made a really cool reel. I put a little Montel Jordan in there from the 90s. A little "This Is How We Do It" with Kyle Tucker. And so, he's not stretching. He's just hitting the home runs. You love doing the stretch. We're going to get an Eric arm stretching bobblehead. I'm going to have that made for you for Christmas this year.
Alrighty, and I'm afraid that we're gonna be watching Ezekiel Duran for years. This guy's gonna be good. So that's all we got for this edition of the Locked On Astros podcast. Make sure you check us out. We'll be back talking about hopefully another Astros victory against the interstate rivals, and we keep the stupid silver boot in Houston where it
Hey,
belongs.
they're gonna drink some champagne out of that silver boot, baby. I don't know if you can, but hey, why not?
You know how dusty that thing is. So
Dude,
I
you
don't think.
clean it out, and then Dusty can do a shoey out of the silver boot.
That's all we got for this edition of the Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. His name is Brett Chancey, and he's the one that's going to be having a whole bunch of different diseases. We'll talk to you on the
What?
next edition of the Locked On
Hold,
Astros
hold,
podcast.
hold the phone, Francis.
We'll see you
You
tomorrow.
cannot end the show like that.